Hello and welcome to the Cold Coffee Club, a podcast brought to you by Houston Moms. We're here to give you a little bit of that mom-to-mom connection, fun, and conversation amidst all the chaos. Join us as we take a break from doing all the things and explore the wide spectrum of this crazy motherhood role. We'll interview fun guests, talk about cool grown-up topics, laugh, share, and grow together. So go ahead, reheat that coffee, and put your feet up. Here we go.
Good morning. Welcome to the Cold Coffee Club. This is Jenny.
And this is Ashley. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so what do you have any tea for us today, Ashley?
So my only tea is that I watched a movie this past week called The Menu. And I had seen previews of it and it looked really interesting, but I couldn't really figure out what's going to happen. What is this about? It is so good, y'all. It's dark, which is something I really enjoy. It's kind of twisted and it's not at all what you expect. But the fact that, it's called The Menu, so it's about food in a sense. One of the main
we love that.
Yes, exactly. And I love pretty food. And so it was just really nice, presentations, Instagram worthy food, but it is so twisted. I highly recommend you watch it. It's not super duper deep, but it's just deep enough where you really have to start thinking about it and wow.
Okay.
So,
this is a show, not a movie.
It's a movie.
Okay. I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say, movie, not a show. Okay.
Yes. And it is on
Awesome.
HBO Max. And it's a fun one. So I highly recommend checking it out. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you? Spill some tea.
So mine is Ellie and I have been doing this thing lately, and I don't know what this says about us, but we have found this account on Instagram and it's called Midwestern Mama 29. Okay. And she does restocking videos of putting food in her fridge after she's gone shopping, or putting things away after she's done laundry, or cleaning her car thoroughly. But they're really aesthetically pleasing, and she does all the sounds, and we'll watch it and we're oh yes, it's very she vacuums the floor and then she zooms out and shows all the lines, and Ellie's oh my gosh, yes. She's we will lay there and watch so many of these in a row, and then it makes me, this woman's very organized, and so it makes me feel I could also be this person, which come on, you have to know who you're not, and I'm not Midwestern Mama 29, but it's very good. But she does give you some good ideas. She's got little kids, and so she shows a lot of their bedrooms and stuff she does in their rooms.
Yeah. And
so some of it's a little extra because Ellie gets a little I want that. And I'm no, ma'am, we're not doing all that. But I'm oh, that's be a good way to store all her hair scrunchies and whatever, instead of just being loose on the dresser. I'm oh, that's a good thing. And she'll link everything. And anyway, we are entranced by it.
I love that.
Silly,
oh, I'm on the bandwagon. That sounds so just pleasing. I love seeing stuff nice and neat and organized, and not doing it myself, but just watching other people live their best lives.
You're look at you having it all together.
Congratulations.
Look at this lady.
What's that like?
Yeah. Anyway,
do you have a cream and sugar for us?
Yes. Okay. So another recommendation. This has been recommendations corner here.
Yeah.
I've been watching the show on Netflix called Kaleidoscope, and it is really unique in how they're doing this, because it's it's a heist show where they're doing a heist, but the premise is each episode is a color. So there's yellow, red, green, blue, each title.
Okay.
But you can watch this show in any order.
Okay.
So you just pick one, and the story is still gonna make sense, I guess.
Okay.
But then there's whole accounts on Twitter and things that have been this is my recommendation.
Yes,
you should watch this show.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're 2 episodes in, and it's very intriguing, and it's just kind of fun and different. It's just something we're not usually doing.
I've been hearing a whole lot about that show and the order and I haven't dug into it just yet, but I've been seeing I'm like, what is a show like where you can just watch any
it's like
episode?
a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
So what about you? What's your cream and sugar?
So I got to go, y'all know I love tacos, and I went to Pacific Coast Tacos. Okay. There's two locations. There's one in Sugar Land and then there's one in the city on Washington Avenue. I found my happy place.
Okay.
So they do have they have all kinds of different tacos, more traditional tacos, but then they have an Asian Pacific inspired list of tacos that are all insanely good.
This sounds very good.
Oh my gosh. And
I'm not just saying that, I'm very intrigued.
Yes, it is so good. A friend of mine told me, you'll love that. We were talking about taco places here in Houston. We were talking about taco trucks. We were talking about a lot of people we know swear by Torchy's. I'm not a huge Torchy's fan. And my friend told me, you will love Pacific Coast Tacos.
Okay.
Love it. So
Yay.
Good. Go check it out. You'll be so happy. And just grab some guacamole. Just the guacamole, real you would think it's just basic guacamole. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Ready yourselves.
Okay. Now we know. So you said there's one in
Sugar Land and one on Washington.
On Washington. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Today's episode of the Cold Coffee Club is brought to us by Manning Pool Service. We love to shine a light on Houston local businesses, especially ones that are women-owned and family-operated and owned by a Houston mom. That is the cherry on top. So moms who have a pool, we know that you care about chemicals, cleanliness, and drowning prevention. And if you are inside the 610 Loop, Bel Air, I-10 Energy Corridor, the Garden Oaks, Oak Forest, River Oaks area, Jersey Village, or even Cypress in the Willowbrook area, you need to know about Manning Pool Service and why it is ranked as one of Aqua Magazine's top 50 pool service providers in the nation. Manning Pool Service technicians are rigorously trained, background screened, CPO certified and accredited, and their team is clean cut, drug tested, always in uniform, and their vehicles are wrapped and branded. They are safe water experts and they only use premium chemicals. And here's an amazing thing they do. After every service, a PDF report is emailed to the client detailing each steps the technician performed that day, including the current chemical balance. All of their technicians are Water Guardian certified, and extra care is given to pool chemistry for children with sensitive skin and special requirements. It's a new year, and if you have a pool, make 2023 the year that it is sparkling, and Houston Moms knows you'll be thrilled with Manning Pool Service. Check the link in our show notes for more info. Okay, back to the show.
Today, we are talking about how we handle household budgeting. And I know if you're anything like me, it feels like a drag, just trying to keep on top of your finances, and it sounds exhausting, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So Jenny and I are going to share some of our tips and how we juggle our finances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our house kind of has in an ideal world, we have always kind of thought about give, save, spend, where obviously spend, of course, we all have stuff we have to spend our money on. Save is we always want to put at least something away every month just to plan for the future. And then give, whether that's giving money to our church or to a charity of our choice, or, just giving something away every month is something that is important to us. And that can either be a small amount or, whatever. But I think what's hard is that in our house, we have a little bit of a unique situation in that my husband's job is he is in sales. And so he doesn't have a consistent paycheck that is the same every time.
Right.
It will change. And so it'll be it'll be a little drier for a month or two. And then on the third month, you kind of get a bigger one. Yeah. And so while those big ones are nice, what happens is it makes us really have to space things out and be very intentional. about going like, okay, well, I'm not going to purchase that now, but I'll purchase that in March, kind of, like that sort of a situation. So that's kind of like a broad overview of how we look at our budget.
Yeah, I was in a similar situation when I was married. My ex-husband was in sales. And so we, there were drier months he did car sales. And so,
wow.
There were certain periods of the year where it's like, yep, this is going to be a slow one. And so it took a lot of planning ahead and being sure we knew what we were looking at. But now that I'm, doing my finances for just myself, it takes a lot of, I know basically what I'm going to make each month, and kind of just plotting out. I have to have things visual. I have to have it on a piece of paper. I'm old school. I write things down. I can't do an app because I'll forget to check it, or I'll ignore a notification or whatever. And so I am very much pen and paper. I break it down the 1st and the 15th. Here's what here's what I need for the 1st to pay these bills, and I check it off when I've paid it and cross it out when it's come out of my bank account. I need to see that so I know that it's there and that I did it and I've taken care of it and it's reflected in my bank. And so I break everything up for the month, and that's just kind of how I do it. And it makes me feel like I have control over things and like I've got it plotted out. And if I can see it, then it's good. We're good.
Right.
So yeah, it's but also, things fluctuate here and there as well.
Right.
But I need to pay attention, because especially if you're like me, I'm 1099 for all the jobs that I do. So I need to also pay attention to saving for tax season, just to be sure in case I owe, like, okay, I've put aside this much money. So every month I pull some out of my checking account, and it's like, okay, this goes into savings, and let's remember to do that, because it could be a big slap if you don't do that.
Well, and we also are, I know we don't do this with my paycheck just because out of the two of ours, my husband is kind of more of the primary income person in our household, but on his paychecks, we have like a separate account that like a percentage of his paycheck every month, he has set it up this way, goes immediately into a savings account. So we don't even see that money. So we don't even get to make the choice. Like it's like, bye, it's going over here. You can't touch it. It's going into the savings account. And that's just a good way to keep ourselves like accountable to like, we are going to put something away every month. And that's on a percentage basis. So it's always, even if that paycheck is fluctuating, if it's a smaller paycheck, it'll, obviously be a smaller amount. And then I think another thing I would say too, is when it comes to credit cards for us, I'm not saying, there have been seasons, but we try so hard to not, to pay those off each month. And we really view our credit cards as a avenue to earn points on those point things, like whether it's travel points or things like that. So we don't view it as, oh, we're going to spend money that we don't really have in our bank account. We are viewing it as, this is a way to earn perks on things, and that we will pay off as much as we can each month. And I'm not saying that there's never been a time that we've carried something over. We have been married for 16 years. We've had some seasons. But the goal and intention has always been like to get that paid off real quick.
That's really smart.
As quick as possible.
Because those credit cards will get you. But definitely the points are so worth it. And there are times where I will buy something just to get the points and then just immediately put it right back on.
Yeah, we do that all the time.
Yeah, I just needed those Amazon points.
We've done that before too, or we will look at something and be like, I'll be like, hey, I need to purchase this for something, and he'll go, wait, hold on, go put that on the credit card actually. And it's like a little more than I would usually want to put on the card, but he's like, no, I'll just switch it right over, but I want the points.
Exactly. So when you pay your monthly bills, how do you track your bills and like just kind of keep an eye on everything? How do you go about that?
So we have, Grant has an Excel spreadsheet is one thing he has, because he's very old school like that. But then also a lot of your banking apps, one thing I really love to look at is they will do like a pie chart almost that will tell you like this percentage of your budget this month was spent on groceries,
Mm-hmm.
or this percentage of your budget was spent on entertainment, or like, it'll kind of let you know, like, oh, I maybe need to cut back on shopping, or I
Right.
maybe need to. And what's hard for me there is that, like, Amazon for me is like, I buy, yes, I buy like dumb things on Amazon, but there are things on Amazon that I buy that are actual household necessities. So I'm not buying just fun stuff. I'm buying like Tide and
Right.
like, because there's certain things that I get like on a subscription service from there. So
Mhm.
that's hard for me to include that sometimes in like shopping, because it makes it seem like I'm like buying a Louis Vuitton, and I'm not. So I think that has been, I like to just pay attention and for my own stuff, like look at my debit card and see like, where am I going a little too heavy on, and to be able to look back over the course of the month and be like, wow, that was more than I thought I spent on this. If it's, Grant always says, in our household, I've always said that he is the one that makes big ticket purchases. Like he's like buys bigger items, but he says, yeah, but you, with you, he said it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. Because I'm just like $3, $5, $6, just all these little bitty things that over time start
They
to
add
add
up.
up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of also just kind of tracking my spending. I know that your bank account tends to do that, but I need, like I said, I really enjoy writing things down, and I process it differently. So I will literally, in my planner, I have a section in my planner that is all about budgeting, and I will literally write down, like, today we went to the movies, we spent this much.
Mhm.
Today we did this, because for some reason I process it a little differently than just swiping the card. I don't pay attention, whatever. I can check the statement at the end of the month, but it doesn't process the same way as if I write down that I did this. So now I'm aware that I did it. I'm paying attention to it. And that's like, okay, now you've done that thing, simmer down a little bit. You can't do all the things. So I do like to track things. And then you also mentioned groceries. So before we get into how much we spend on groceries, I do also track my grocery list or my grocery purchases, so that, if I budget $500 for a period of time, here's how I spent that $500. Here's, I went to Kroger and I spent this much, and I went to HEB and spent this much. I keep track of that, and also my gas. And for some reason, it keeps me kind of in check, so that I can easily just look back and be like, okay, so this is how much I have left in this budget if I'm going to stick with this. Granted, there is wiggle room if need be, but I like seeing, here's what's left, and here's what you did with it, and here's why it's gone, so you're not confused.
Yeah. I also feel like when I order my groceries ahead of time using curbside or using Shipt or something like that, it's helpful for me because it's keeping you're looking at your total run up the whole time. It's telling you like, this is how much it is.
Yeah.
And so sometimes if I'm like, oh, we're getting a little over, I will go up and look and be like, you know what, I can wait on this till next week. Like I can, I'll try to like maneuver some things and going like, I don't maybe need all of this, because what I don't want to do is if I just go to the store and just start loading my cart up with things that I'm seeing, and oh, we need this too, oh, I did need that, and you start loading, then you get up there, you go to pay, they scan everything, the total is more than you want it to be. It's very unlikely that I am going to go, well, I'm going to put that back. I'm going to be like, well, I'm going to get it eventually, just pay for it, whatever.
Right.
And it's like, when you really look at going, let me go back and see if there's a cheaper version of this or a generic version. Like, how can I shave $10 off this? Like, how can I cut that down? So being able to make an order online rather than just loosey-goosey walk through.
Yeah.
I mean, the best thing for my budget is to not go to the grocery store with my children. Do not take those kids to the store.
They will ruin you.
And I also want, can I have just constant like, oh, I didn't know there was this flavor,
Yeah. Side note, are you one of those people that waits to put in like your Kroger card till the very end just to like see it all go off?
Yes. Yes.
That is so satisfying. It reminds me of Pam when she plays on The Office, when she plays solitaire, and she's like, I'm going to wait because I like when the cards go.
Love it. I also feel like when I get like a real good one, when it's like you saved $35 today, I am like, I am a budget queen.
Yes. Nailed it.
And here I am going to go. And then what reward should I buy for myself? Because
Serve
I
a treat.
$35. I am incredible. And it's like, now we're counteracting what we've just done, because you're like, I need to go get some new shoes at Target.
Yes. Of course.
An app that a lot of people have mentioned that I know as we talk about groceries and stuff is an app called YNAB. I don't know if you call it YNAB or what, but it's called You Need a Budget.
Okay.
And so that a lot of readers have recommended that app when we've talked about this kind of stuff before on Instagram. That a lot of people use that. So if you need a handy little thing in your phone to yell at you and tell you when you're doing something you shouldn't.
And along with that, there's an app called iBotta, and you can input like your receipts and whatnot, and it'll find you money back here and there. And I've used it on and off. I definitely haven't been consistent with it, but I've gotten some money back. It's like, oh, we found a better price here. Here's this. I love stuff like that. I've tried to get into like couponing. I haven't been consistent. I try, but I try.
That's so much extra.
If that's your jam, go for it.
Well, okay. So do we want to talk about how much we're spending each week on groceries? Do you want to reveal?
It's going to make my tummy hurt, but
I know.
So groceries, I used to spend when we were a family of 5, I probably spent about $1,200 a month on, when I say groceries, I mean like food, but also like laundry detergent, cleaning supplies, stuff like that. So toilet paper, paper towels, all that. Since it's the boys and I, and they're with their dad every other week, I spend probably about $800 a month ish. And that still seems outlandish to me. I'm like, are y'all sure you're hungry? Are you sure? Or are you bored? Let's go play something.
Yes.
How about you? How much do you think?
I would say like I probably go to the store once a week and buy, like you said, like groceries plus, paper towels and batteries and, all the things that you kind of need to keep your household going. And I would assume each one of those trips is about $200. So maybe somewhere between $200 to $230.
Okay.
Sometimes on the lower side. And then, but I also always end up going back for at least one or two things during the week of like, well, I didn't get that, or so-and-so needs this for school. But that's it's probably like $1,000-ish a month. Like when you kind of break it all down would be my guess. But also, and this is like something we're really bad at, if there's anything that our household is just really awful at, it's eating out. We enjoy having food prepared for us.
Who doesn't?
And we try to like share food. Like if we do a lot of like, okay, you two, instead of doing like 2 kids meals, y'all are getting one big adult meal, and then we're just splitting that sucker in half. So like we do that kind of stuff too. But yeah, that's a problem area for us.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
We're just going to Raising Cane's instead.
I do a lot of that when the boys aren't with me. I'm like, if I'm gonna spend it, I'm gonna spend it on me, by myself. When I only have to spend for one person. Yes, I will.
So, and then another thing we'll do too. This is just 2 other additional tips I would say. One is we do at least once a week. I call it like pantry night, which just means or pantry day. When Grant and I when we didn't have kids, we would sometimes do like a pantry week, like a Monday through Friday, where every day it's like, we're only eating food that exists in this house, and you're gonna have to get real creative. It's in the freezer, it's in the fridge, it's in the pantry, and it might not all go together, and you might be eating one thing and I might be eating another thing. And like we'll do this with our kids too, where I'm just like, we are gonna just figure out like whatever. Like we have canned corn, We have like like it's just like we are just eating what exists here.
Make it work.
And we are not like, this might not be found in any amazing cookbook, but we're gonna take this frozen chicken from the freezer and that kind of thing, and it's just like we're just making it up. So figure it out.
That's awesome.
And then my other one too, and this has been very helpful for me, is in your iPhone. If you go to settings, and then at the top where it says like your name, and if you click that, you see a button that says subscriptions. Mm-hmm. And if you click subscriptions, it'll tell you all the things that you're paying monthly for. And some of it you really need, but there might be some weird app that you signed up for a year ago that you don't use anymore that you are still paying for, or it might be about to renew. Mm-hmm. So I will go through and cancel like, oh no, I don't want to renew that again. I haven't used that in forever. And there's some that are more important than others, but I have saved probably, $100 over the course of the last year when I looked at that and been like, oh, I am spending a lot of money on this that I did not need to be spending. So check on those subscriptions.
When you noticed that you were saving yourself some money, did you go buy yourself a treat?
Mm-hmm, I did.
Of course you did.
I did. Oh, and then the other thing too is when we talk about Amazon, mm-hmm. I do a lot of carding things and clicking save for later. Because sometimes what will happen is I will think of something we need and I'll go in and I just need to get it in the cart. And then like I will wait until it's a better time, or if maybe in a week I won't want it anymore. And so then but just that save for later feature is huge for me.
It is great.
Like, let's think on this, or let's just wait until this is a better time for us.
And a lot of times when you put it in there, you'll get an alert saying that it's at like its best price that it's been or whatever. Yeah. And it really prevents you from those impulse buys, because it's like, I've been wanting roller skates for a year and I was like, I'm gonna wait. They're $60. I don't really need them right now. And then I waited and got them for myself as a birthday gift when they were about $40. And I was like, I mean, that's awesome. I love that. And I just had it sitting there, just waiting. And there's a lot of times where in a moment, I'm like, I really need this. I'm in a mood. And then it's like, girl, you didn't need that. I'm so glad you didn't buy it. It's just been sitting there and you haven't even thought about it.
No, I've thought about that. Like last night, I put something in save for later because I've been wanting to get something upstairs, like a desk situation for the kids to use. We have like a room upstairs that's like a playroom kind of, but the only table surface in there is very little. It's from when they were little kids. And the only reason I haven't taken it out, because they're way too big for it now, is just because if I take it out, then they will have no table in there at all. And I want them to be able to do homework on it or do Legos on it or color, but I've been trying to just find the right thing. And so I found something on Amazon last night. It's only like $120 and it comes with a chair. And it looks like a good size. And I thought, okay, like maybe this will be what I do. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait. This is not an emergency. I don't need it immediately. And maybe I will find something different. Like just give it a second. So I am pacing myself and I'm not just switching that over. But I was like, my poor children are using like a toddler table. And like Ellie's going to junior high next year. Like they're going to be like, Mom, what are we doing?
Do you budget like for your gas as well? Because I know gas prices have been up and down. And do you include that in your budgeting?
I do think Grant does. I am so local to my area so much. Like I don't go a lot of places like outside of my little circle, but Grant drives a lot for work. And so his is much more, I think he budgets more for his than mine. Okay. Not that gas isn't expensive for me too, but like I don't fill up nearly as often.
Right. So. Yeah. Like I always have a line in my budget and it's like $100 for gas. And most of the time, I work from home as well. And I noticed yesterday that I hadn't left my house in 2.5 days. I mean, in the car at least. I've gone for walks and stuff and I'm like, this is kind of cool. Like it is not lost on me that I am very blessed to be able to work from home with the gas prices being what they continue to be. So yeah, I hope, all these tips and these kind of insights are helpful, because it is hard juggling. Your finances are always just like worrisome. Like whenever you think about your money and just where's it all going, and oh my gosh, I just got this check and it's already spent. It's a whole lot, but it is manageable really if you break it down. For me personally, I need things to be bite sized, so that's why I'm like, I'm only going to focus on the first half of the month, and then later I'll focus on the second half. I need those little snippets of finances. So yeah.
Well, and I'm going to add one thing, and we didn't talk about this before, but for the married gals that are in like a double income situation or even single income, I just want to encourage you to get a good look at your finances, even if you're not the one that is managing them, and even if you're not the one that is maybe the major contributor to them. I have met and been around so many people in the last like 10 years or so that have been married for a long time and was trusting someone else with their finances. And then that kind of blew up in their face. And then even in other situations, women who have gotten divorced or women who are widowed that were suddenly left with, I don't know how to do any of this because I never had to. And that's okay to it's okay to not need to be a part of that, but maybe just to look at it and understand where is the money? Where are investments being kept? When you get paid every month, where is the money going? How much money do we have? So that you are not blindsided by things. Just so you can get a good eye on everything. I just think that is an important note because I'm tired of seeing people get burned by things that they truly did not know about.
That is a word from Jenny. That is, that hit home.
just learn, I will be very honest. I pay our bills in my house. I'm the one that physically pays the bills, the ones that are not on auto, whatever. But as far as the managing of our bank accounts and the managing of the 401ks and the, grant to some investing in stock market, stuff like that, I am very hands off on that stuff. Not because I'm an idiot, but just because I'm okay, what are you I trust him in it.
Yeah.
But I will every few months, I'm I need to see it all. Open it all up. And I have passwords to everything. And I mean, there is visibility in everything so that I know. And even just from a security point of if you get hit by a bus and you die, where is everything?
Yeah.
I need account numbers. I need passwords. I need, who do I call? In there's this weird, with this investment, how do I get that money out if I wanted to, or if it starts to tank and I don't know about it and suddenly we've lost all this, I need to know,
Absolutely.
I don't want to screw myself out of something that anyway, we kind of have a list of what do I do in the event that you are in a coma.
Yeah.
So I know that's a sad and morbid thing to think about.
No, but this is what you need to think about. That is
Take
great advice.
care of yourself. And that doesn't mean you don't trust your husband. It doesn't mean he's a bad guy. It just means that you are looking out for yourself and your children.
Yeah.
No.
Love it.
That's all. Okay. On that note, now that I've bummed everybody out, let's do your house blend. What is something that you loved on the Houston Mom site this week?
Our contributor Kim Reed wrote a post called "Getting Crafty in the New Year: Fun Art Spots in Houston," and I love this. It was having a creative outlet is always fun, and she kind of provided us with great places to explore that. And it's definitely worth checking out. It's definitely worth exploring Houston a little bit. And there's lots of great art spots here.
Yes.
So yeah, it was a fun one.
I
How
like
about
that.
you?
Mine was Danny wrote about 5 delicious soups to make for your family, and I am a soup girl. And there's recipes. I think I wrote them down. There's chicken tortellini, broccoli cheese soup, shrimp and potato chowder, crockpot seafood chowder, and then like a crockpot beef, like a stew.
Mhm.
And they all looked amazing. And so I was like, yes, print. Like I was like, I'm screenshot.
Yep.
So if you are a soup girl, this is your friend. This link is your friend. So that is in our show notes.
Awesome.
Okay, so before we go, see us out with a caffeinator today, Ashley.
The word budget comes from the Latin bulga, meaning a small pouch. And in turn, this led to the French term bougette, and it is a nickname for a bouget or a leather bag. So kind of like a purse kind of thing. And so I guess that kind of ties into budgeting. Like that's where all your money is. Contain your money. Figure out where it's all going.
And you think about too, like going into like bougie, you know, even like to go like the way we talk about someone being bougie, that means that they like are spending a lot of money.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, oh, you're so bougie. That's fun. Okay. Well, that is like the more you know, because budget is like a really funny word.
It is.
Okay.
It is. Have a great week,
day.
everyone. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Cold Coffee Club, brought to you by Houston Moms. We wish you a fabulous week with your families and look forward to sharing many more cups of cold coffee with you.